today's video, we are going to be discussing visual perceptual and visual motor skills. Visual perceptual skills are needed to make sense of what is in our environment and to make sense of what we see. We need visual perceptual skills for writing, for reading, and also for everyday life activities such as reading a map or finding an object that's in a messy drawer. Some of the games and activities that we can do to enhance our visual perceptual skills include completing puzzles, completing I Spy worksheets, or finding a hidden picture worksheet. You can also play the games Rush Hour and Spot It. Those work on your visual discrimination skills. Another game that I really like is Memory, which works on our visual memory, and also the game Simon, which works on sequential memory skills. Another skill we're going to be talking about today is visual motor skills. Visual motor skills are needed to move our eyes and our hands in a coordinated way. Visual motor skills are very important for writing, cutting, coloring, and even activities such as throwing and catching a ball. Some games and activities that we can do to promote visual motor skills include Connect the Dots worksheets, completing mazes, completing gross motor activities such as beanbag toss or balloon volleyball. You can also do activities using string and beads for beading. You could make macaroni necklaces. You can also complete lacing card activities. All of these activities work to strengthen our visual motor skills. One of the best ways that you can practice visual motor skills is through cutting activities. Cutting is a great activity because it incorporates bilateral hand movements, because you're cutting with one hand and you are holding the paper with your other hand. It also incorporates hand strengthening, individual movements of the fingers, and also manual dexterity. So it is a great activity to do, and most everybody can do it. Today I am doing an activity that is going to range from the most easy level of cutting all the way up to the most challenging. I have two different pairs of scissors with me today. I have just a regular pair of scissors here, and I also have another pair that you might be interested in using. It's a spring scissor, so it has this device attached to it, so when you close it and open it, it goes up and down, and it assists with your cutting skills. You lack the hand strength to open up the scissors. This is just a little bit of an assistance for you. I think I got these at the dollar store, or I'm sure you could order them on Amazon. They're pretty easy to find. They're called spring scissors. So the first activity is just making snips on the paper. And as you can see here, I already started it, but you just want to make little cuts. And notice as I'm cutting, my elbow is close to my body, and I have my thumb pointed upwards. And I have 3 fingers down below. So the next activity we're going to do is we're going to just cut lines. I made lines on a paper, like so, and you're just going to cut. Make sure your hand is close to the line, your opposite hand is close to the line that you're cutting, and you're just going to cut and stop at the dot. So move your hand over. And notice I'm maintaining focus and attention on what I'm doing. Parents, you might have to help your child with holding the paper. Everybody's at a different level, so that's something that you might have to help with. Or with positioning the scissors. Okay, so that's the next activity. And if you notice that your child is cutting and their elbow is up, you could always have a folder underneath your arm and hold it like this, so that it forces you to keep your elbow close to your body. That's another trick that I have up my sleeve. The next activity we're going to do is going to be using different index cards. Now I have colored index cards, but any index card will do. I like that they're a little bit thicker because it gives more of a sensory feedback when you're cutting. So I'm going to be cutting, I made just some vertical lines on the paper. So, like I said, make sure your elbow's down, thumb is up, and we're going to cut on the lines. There's different art activities that you can do by cutting up paper also. You could cut these into little squares and then you can make a mosaic. You could be creative and do however you want. I also have some zigzag lines that incorporates a little bit more changing directions. So this one's going to be a little bit harder because the lines are closer together, and this one's going to be a little bit easier because the lines are a little bit bigger. So, and you can make more lines on the paper if you want. You can make less lines to make it a little bit easier or harder. So this one's going to incorporate more fine motor and visual motor skills because I have to change directions. And make sure you're always watching what you're doing when you're cutting. It incorporates a lot of focus and attention. Alright, the next level of difficulty is we're going to be cutting across a piece of paper. So I have just regular paper here, and I have a line drawn. You can make it a wavy line to make it a little more challenging. You could do some of the zigzag lines that we did with the index cards. But for right now, I just have a vertical line to show you. Alright, try to stay on the line when you're cutting as best as you can. Alright, so that's that. Now, we're going to get into cutting some shapes. So the first shape I have here is a circle. So like I said, you could grade this activity however you want. You could make it on a smaller piece of paper. You can make a smaller circle. This is just what I have today. So, you know what, when you're cutting, sometimes it's easier to cut up some of the excess first. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to cut some of the excess pieces off, just so that they're not in the way when you're cutting. So that's something that you could do at home. Cut away some of the excess. Okay. So I'm going to start over here. And really focus and pay attention. And you see how as I'm cutting, I'm turning my opposite hand and I'm moving my hand with the scissors. So cut a little bit and then move. Cut and move your hand. And as you're cutting, if your hands get a little bit tired, you could take a break and do some hand exercises, just opening and closing your hands. You could push your hands together like this. You could shake your hands out, kind of like this. Okay. So, the last thing I have here is a square. So like I said, I'm just going to cut the excess parts away. I have my hand close to the scissors. I'm going to cut on the line. Now this is a little bit more difficult. You could cut this part off so it's out of the way. Make sure you cut all the way, just to make it a little bit easier. And keep in mind, you could always color in the shapes if you would like. You don't have to just cut them out. You can make a house. If you have a triangle, you could make, your circle into a sun and make a whole scenery for cutting. There's so many different activities that you can do. Another activity I have that involves cutting skills is, if you have any empty cereal boxes, like I had an empty cereal box, I cut out the front of the box. So pick your favorite cereal, and you could actually make puzzle pieces with it. So I'm just going to show you really quick. You could just cut it up however you want. And this is going to be a little bit more challenging, really incorporating more hand strengthening because we have such thick cardboard here. So this is if you want to take it up to another level. And we were talking about visual perceptual skills, so this is a great way to incorporate our visual perceptual skills by making our own puzzle. So I'm just going to show you a few pieces here. You can make a triangle piece. A good idea would be to take a picture of what the front of the box looks like, just so you have something to copy from for when you're putting the puzzle back together. Grab another piece here. So these are just some of the puzzle pieces I cut out, and you could do your own shapes or use whatever cereal box you want, and this is just a good way of making your own puzzle with materials that you have at home. The final thing I'm going to show you today is using a hole puncher. This is just an individual hole puncher, and it's also really good for cutting skills and for strengthening your hands. So you could even take some cardboard and you can make some holes. Like so. You could go all the way around and you can make a lacing card. Be creative and you can make anything that you want. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for another video from me, and have a great day.